Hello and welcome to another Starfield episode here on the Mole RP channel. My name is ChaosMole, and today we have a look at stealth or sneaking. And to be a little bit more precise, to make it very clear right at the beginning of the video, this is not a video on how to do stealth right. This is not a guide video to explain to you exactly how you can do the best in stealth, how you are completely invisible, and so on and so forth, because unfortunately stealth right now has a huge problem. It's broken, it doesn't work, and we don't really know if Bethesda has screwed something up here with the balance or if it's just bugged, right? So what we are doing here in this video is we will take a look at how stealth actually works, and then we will talk about the issues which are coming with that, and then we draw our conclusion like what we can do about it in the future. And right now it's not a lot, I can already tell you that spoiler wise, but let's jump into stealth. Before you are going into stealth, you probably want to grab a few perks which will make the whole stealthy thing much easier. One of them is of course stealth itself, and you want to push that down to rank 4. Now you might think, okay, when you are rank 4, you're basically invisible, right? No, not at all. To be completely honest here, the difference between rank 1 stealth and rank 4 stealth, I don't feel it that much. The other thing you really want is one of the endgame perks, and that is concealment, which is giving you at rank 2 the ability that you can run while sneaking, and that doesn't affect your stealth. And then with rank 3 you're also getting the chameleon-like ability, so that you are getting cloaked, right? And people have a much harder time to actually see you. So again, those are the perks you want, which will help you a little bit with sneaking. But I say a little bit because right now stealth is fundamentally broken. So let's talk about the basics. Let's lay out some groundwork here. How does stealth work? Well, first of all, we have visibility, right? It's pretty simple. You are sneaking around, and the moment you are starting to move, you can also see that my bars in the top are also moving, right? They're also moving around, and that means you are much easier to be seen. And visibility is a huge thing. Lighting is very important. If you are standing under a light, you will be, well, easier to be seen. If you are standing in the shadows, it will be harder for you to be seen. So also what is important, the time of the day. So if it is night or day is playing into that. Plus, of course, if you are outside. If it is day and you are inside of a cave, it doesn't matter, right? But if you are outside, you will have a much easier time to sneak around when it is night. And yes, that plays into that. Also, speaking about visibility, even though you might be very sneaky, your follower might not be. I had a lot of moments where my followers have been seen way before me, and then the whole thing was just blown and I had to fight. So keep that in mind if you are trying to be sneaky with somebody who isn't. And it's not like in the previous Bethesda games where your followers could just literally stand in the middle of the room and nobody would see them. That doesn't happen here anymore. They are visible, and they can be attacked before they see you. So keep that in mind. Now the next thing we have to talk about is sound. Sound is back, so whenever you are running and sneaking around, you will create sound, and you can also see that in the bar. The moment I'm starting to run around in my sneaking mode, I will get quite a bit of bars so that enemies can see me faster. And the easiest way to mask that is to go super slow. You can see the bars are now going down. That is, at least on the PC, the tab button. Tab didn't work for me. Caps lock, not tab, sorry. Caps lock. Caps lock didn't work for me, so I had to put it on my old button, and that's where it's now resting. And yeah, that gives you a little bit of an edge of being not heard from far away. What they did change, and this is quite a big change from the previous Bethesda game like Fallout, sound combined with armor does not matter. So it doesn't matter which type of spacesuit you wear. It doesn't matter how heavy your clothes are. It just does not matter, right? Like, I'm wearing a pretty heavy one with 7.5 mass, and everything else is pretty heavy. Enemies will still hear you as much as you are going commando. I have tried that quite a bit, to just go in completely naked with no items whatsoever, and enemies would still hear me a mile away, and it doesn't really change anything. So they removed, at least for now, maybe it's bugged, maybe that's not how it should work, but at least right now, it doesn't matter what type of equipment you are wearing. It doesn't do anything to the sound. Another change they added, and which is very important, is the cone of view, right? If you are getting too close to an enemy, you will be seen, and the field of view, or the field cone, the view cone is now 90 degree. So every enemy has some supervision, and you can already see how that is a problem, right? Like, they will see you a mile away when you are getting into that 90 degree field of view. So keep that in mind. So, now that we have talked about how stealth works, why is stealth broken? Because it just doesn't work. Every single feature I've mentioned doesn't work properly, or is too much fine-tuned. Like, you can see it here, right? How the guards are like detecting me relatively easily, no matter where I am. I know they are guards, but believe me, it doesn't really make a difference with other NPCs. Like, the moment you are running into their peripheral for just like a second, no matter if you're a stealth level 4 or not, they will see you. They will see you. And that's really unfortunate, right? They would totally see you, and then your whole cover is blown and you were screwed. But let's talk about the first issue, lighting. So as you can see here, I am running through the shadows and the lighting. Like, I'm now really close to some light, right? Like, I should be super visible. Nothing really happens with my sneaking bar in the top. You can see it right now. If you're looking at the bars, that's like what? 3.5 bars? If I'm now going here into the shadow, which should give me much more cover, I have 3 bars still of visibility. So it's like, what? But shouldn't there be like a change of visibility? And you will see this so often that when you think, okay, I'm now in the shadows, I'm now, or should be now, more invisible to the enemy's eye, you aren't. It doesn't really matter if you're actually running through the light, or, well, it does. There are differences. You can totally see that the bar is sometimes increasing the closer I'm getting to a light, or sometimes nothing happens, and it feels so weird. It feels bizarre, right? Like here, bam, we are getting definitely like some bar here because of the lighting I'm directly in, and then you're moving out of it and it's gone. Like, it's really tough to assume where the light actually goes and where you are allowed to stand and where you are not allowed to stand, because the light is just confusing and doesn't really make sense. The same goes with the shadows. By the way, foliage does nothing, unfortunately. The same goes with the camouflage ability. There's a camouflage ability that when you stand still, you're like having this predator cloak, and from what I have seen, it doesn't really make a big difference. It's maybe a meter or two before the enemy is noticing you, but it doesn't seem to be too much worth. Sound. Let's talk about sound. Sound is a huge issue. So much so that the enemy can hear you through multiple levels and through walls when you are sneaking like I do right now. If you're sneaking like this, very slowly, it's fine, but you are super slow. Super slow. Like, it's bad. And truth to be told, the chance that the enemy is coming back from their patrol, that they are turning around, is far too high, and you will be seen. So, especially at the beginning, you have the problem that the enemy will hear you way before they will see you. And that makes stealth just not fun. Like, you see it right here when I'm slowly sneaking to the guard, right? I am stealth level 4, and they still hear me relatively fast if I'm not, like, going into the slow mode, right? But then you are very slow on the chances that you will be spotted. Also, what is a huge problem? Let's talk about the field of view. You probably remember that I mentioned that field of view is now in a 90-degree radius, right? And you probably might have noticed it just right now. The guard is moving around, right? The guard is standing still, but still, the guard is moving around. Unfortunately, that also means when they are moving their head like this, right, their field cone is also changing. So even if you are managing to sneak up to an enemy, the moment they are just turning their head a little bit to look around, you will be seen. And then it's over. And I had this happen to me quite a bit, that the guard was just like, I was in a good position, I was getting closer to an enemy, at the moment they're just turning their head a little bit to the left or to the right, and they would immediately see me because it's like a 90-degree field cone. Like, look at this. Like, this moving around happens quite often, and it's bad. Like, in itself, all those issues I just mentioned, they are minor. They are annoying, but you could kind of figure it out and manage. But the problem is when everything is coming together. The lighting, the field cone changing, the sounds, you being super slow, your partner being much more visible than you are, and they are not really trying to stay in the shadows even if you are sneaking. They see them way before you. And it's just, wow. It is really hard, and I have to say, if you do not have all of those skills I mentioned earlier, stealth is unfortunately useless. It's no fun, it's infuriating, and it makes sometimes no sense. And I don't know if this is Bethesda who screwed up the balance, or if it is bugged. And it shouldn't work that way. So we have to wait maybe for a patch or two. There is a mod out there you can download right now on Nexus Mod. I can actually put that mod in the video description. And it will tune it down a bit. It would definitely make stealth more feasible. So you might want to check that out. One last thing I want to mention. You probably wonder, wait a minute. Okay, when you have those issues so much with stealth, how did you manage to get this so quickly to rank 4? I know that a lot of people are looking for an answer to that. And the answer is, I cheesed it. Not knowingly, but I cheesed it by having a weapon with a silencer, like this one. The Assassin's Calibrated Maelstrom. And if you are far enough from an enemy, you probably know that from, let's say, Fallout 4, but if you are far enough from an enemy and you start shooting with a silencer, you will do far less damage, but the enemy doesn't figure out immediately where you are, so you can just put in like 10, 20 shots sometimes on an enemy before they even notice where you are, and those are all sneak attacks, and this is how you get up your sneaking. That's what I did. That's how I got my level 4 sneaking very quickly. And that's the best advice I can really give you here at this point. But stealth right now, without a mod or without them patching it, especially at the beginning, is no fun. It is no fun. Because you cannot even choose like a downside on your character to make stealth easier. Like in the previous Bethesda games, you could just walk around kinda naked. And that would give you a little bit of an edge, but that doesn't work anymore, right? So that's gone. And unfortunately, it made this playthrough with stealth very painful, and I had to give up at some point. And I'm just doing it occasionally right now, because even with level 4, it still feels more often or not great. But please, let me know down below in the comments what you think about stealth. Maybe you have already tried out stealth and you found some solutions to the problems and other content creators have seen, right? And let me know what you think. Now, with that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to like it. And also, if you're new to the channel, you want to see more Starfield videos, we already have quite a bit of them, plus a weekly podcast, you might want to subscribe to the channel. With that said, thanks so much for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.